My name is Cassandra Voss. I'm 38 years old, and I'm standing at the entrance of an engagement gala that I wasn't invited to. Well, that's not entirely true. I was invited, sort of. The invitation was there, but my name was barely mentioned, and I was left out of the program. No fanfare, just a quiet nod in my direction, like an afterthought. It's ironic, really. This gala, held in one of Manhattan's finest venues, was supposed to celebrate my younger sister's upcoming wedding to a man whose father, Senator Thomas Ames, happens to be someone I've saved, literally, from the jaws of death 12 years ago. A covert operation in Istanbul, a collapsing building, gunfire. It's a moment etched in my memory, one that he's never acknowledged. Yet here I am, standing at the farthest edge of the room, near the catering entrance, wearing my formal dress, my face calm but my insides twisted. As I walk into the room, I take in the meticulous decor, silver candle holders, towering floral arrangements, glittering chandeliers hanging from the ceiling, and the scent of expensive perfume mixing with the faint scent of fresh hors d'oeuvres. The crowd buzzes with excitement, oblivious to my presence as they chat in cliques about politics, luxury, and the future. I don't belong here. In fact, that's exactly what my family has made sure of. They orchestrated this event to omit me from the spotlight. No surprise. It's what they do best, erase me from the narrative. They know how to be subtle about it, but I know exactly what this is. I scan the room and spot my sister Amanda in her sleek white dress, laughing with a group of women. My mother stands beside her, performing the role of the elegant matriarch like she's always done. Neither of them glance in my direction. They won't. I know this drill. I take my seat at a table near the kitchen, marked only by a simple card that reads, C. Voss. No title, no honor. For a moment, I let the quiet rage build inside me. I want to shout. I want to stand up and demand the attention I'm owed, the respect I've earned, but I don't. I'm not here to fight. I'm here because not showing up would have been surrender, and I never surrender. I sit back in my chair, leaning my head against the wall, watching the luxury, the high society air, and I wonder, when did they forget me? Or maybe it was always like this, and I just refused to see it. I remember the invitation when it arrived, an ornate gold-embossed envelope, delicately sealed with a flourish that screamed wealth and exclusivity. At first, I thought it was a mistake. Maybe they had meant to invite someone else. But no, my name was printed on the front in looping, elegant cursive, Cassandra Voss, though they had spelled it wrong, as they always did. The misspelling didn't bother me. It was the tone of the invitation that cut deeper. It wasn't just an invite to an engagement gala, it was a statement. The kind that said, "We're doing this because it's expected, but don't get too comfortable, you're still on the outside." And that was when I knew I wasn't supposed to be here. The invitation came from my mother, of course. She had always been the one to reach out when things were either too painful to ignore or when there was a duty to uphold. She wasn't trying to mend fences. She was trying to send a message. There was a dark undercurrent in that gold ink that spoke volumes. It wasn't a kind gesture. It was a veiled warning. I remember the last family event I had attended, the funeral of our father. I hadn't worn my agency pin like I wanted to, the one that meant something to me. She'd made it clear I wasn't allowed to wear it. They'd made me sit at the back of the church, away from the family. It was like I wasn't really part of the service, just a spectator, a quiet ghost that had drifted in for the occasion and would slip out when it was over. The pain of being erased, of being reduced to someone who only appeared when it was convenient, wasn't new. I had endured it for years. But this time, as I stared at the invite in my hands, the pain transformed into something else, a cold, bitter sense of finality. I wasn't even sure if I still cared about being part of that world. They had made it clear I wasn't welcome. But then I saw Senator Ames's name on the invitation, right there beneath my sister's fiancé's. Thomas Ames, the very man I had once saved in Istanbul, the one I had pulled out of a collapsing safe house, his life in my hands when no one else would dare to step in. That memory came rushing back, and with it, a decision. I couldn't stay away. I needed to go. I didn't care if they erased me in front of the glittering crowd. This was bigger than any petty family dispute. I knew Ames was there, probably unaware of the ghosts we shared, but the truth had a weight, and it had to be told, so I accepted the invitation. I wasn't doing this for them. I was doing it for me, to finally step into the light of my own past, to make my presence undeniable. Even if they didn't want to see it, I would force them to. This wasn't just about my sister or her perfect little gala. This was about confronting a part of myself I'd buried for too long. The air is thick with the clink of glasses, the murmur of polite conversation, and the soft hum of the jazz band playing in the background. The room is filled with the polished, perfect people I've come to expect from my family's world. Men in sharp suits, women in glittering gowns, all perfectly curated for this moment. My sister Amanda stands at the front of the room, her fiancé beside her, beaming. She raises her glass, and the room falls silent. All eyes are on her, waiting. And for the first time tonight, I feel the heat of her gaze cutting across the room, even though we're separated by half a dozen tables. She's about to speak, and I already know what's coming. To the future, she begins, her voice sweet and practiced, and to building something real. She pauses, just enough to make sure everyone is listening. Then, with a subtle but deliberate edge to her tone, she continues, to leaving the past where it belongs. There's a gentle, almost rehearsed laughter that follows. The crowd swells around her, nodding, toasting, celebrating. But I can't help but hear the barb hidden beneath her words, the cutting reminder that I'm a relic of that past, something she wants to forget. I don't flinch, but the knife sinks deeper. Amanda's smile is bright, too bright, and her eyes flicker toward me for just a moment. She knows I'm here. She knows what she's doing. This isn't a toast. It's a calculated strike, disguised as celebration. The laughter rings in my ears, but I stay still, calm, detached. I don't need to respond. I don't need to say anything. I've learned over the years that sometimes silence speaks louder than any words could. Amanda finishes her toast, and the room erupts in applause. Everyone drinks, toasts, and cheers, caught in the glamour of the moment, completely unaware of the invisible wound she's just inflicted. But I feel it, sharp, deliberate, like salt on an open wound. The truth is, they've never wanted me here. Not really. I've always been the outsider, the one they keep at arm's length, the one they pretend to care for only when it suits them. They fear me because I'm not like them. I don't belong in their world of perfection and pretense. I don't wear the right clothes. I don't speak their language. I'm not one of the polished faces they parade around their glittering circles. But tonight, I realize something. The truth doesn't need a fight. It doesn't need a confrontation. The truth only needs a witness to the lies, the backhanded compliments, and the subtle cruelty they inflict when they think no one's watching. I won't give them the satisfaction of a reaction. I won't let them see how much it hurts. I won't let them see that their words cut deeper than they can imagine. I take a deep breath and lift my own glass, toasting to myself. Not to them, to me, to the truth I carry silently without fanfare. I don't need their acceptance. I never did. The truth in the end is what will remain. The evening stretches on, and I need air. The weight of the gala is pressing in on me, the false smiles and laughter feeling more like a suffocating blanket than a celebration. I stand up slowly, my chair scraping against the marble floor, and make my way through the crowd. No one notices, or at least no one acknowledges me. That's fine. I don't need their attention. The terrace is a welcome escape. Cool, crisp air bites at my skin as I step outside, feeling the tension in my chest loosen just slightly. I'm alone out here, the noise of the party muffled by the thick glass doors behind me. I lean against the railing, looking out over the city. It's strange standing here, alone. I've spent so much of my life trying to fit into a place that never wanted me, that maybe I'm starting to believe I'm better off on the outside. The world on this side of the glass is suffocating, fake, full of smiles that hide the fear and insecurity beneath. I'm lost in my thoughts when a voice breaks through, calm, low, and far too familiar. You shouldn't be out here alone, the voice says. I don't need to turn around to know who it is. The same man I saved all those years ago, Senator Thomas Ames. I feel a sharp twist in my gut. Part of me wants to turn and walk away. After all, we don't owe each other anything. We've never spoken about that day in Istanbul, not once. He owes me nothing, just as I owe him nothing. But we both know the truth, even if we never speak it aloud. I'm not alone, I say quietly, but my voice betrays me, shaking just slightly. Ames steps closer, and for a long moment we simply stand there in silence, the cool wind swirling around us. He takes a long, steady breath as if trying to find the right words. I've seen you before, he finally says, his voice softer now, almost pensive. In the shadows, at these events. Always on the periphery. I exhale sharply, my shoulders stiffening. He doesn't understand. He never could. You don't have to do this, I say, my words coming out in a cold, steady whisper. You don't owe me anything. He pauses, his gaze turning thoughtful. I don't owe you anything? His voice is low, almost incredulous. I feel my hands clench at my sides, fighting the urge to push him away, to tell him to leave. But there's something about his presence here. The way his words cut through the thick layers of pretense that always surround us, that stops me. I don't need gratitude, I say, staring out over the city. I never did. I just did what needed to be done. But you've never acknowledged it, not to me, not to anyone. Ames doesn't respond at first, just watches me, a quiet understanding settling in his eyes. I know, he says quietly, a touch of regret in his tone. I've never been good at this, at acknowledging things, but some debts are deeper than gratitude. I turn to him then, meeting his gaze for the first time, and there's a shift in the air, a weight I didn't expect. It's not just the memory of what we shared in Istanbul. It's everything that has happened since, his life, my life, and the years that passed without either of us acknowledging the truth. There's nothing to fix, I say, my voice steady again. I don't need your pity, I'm not asking for anything. Ames takes a step back, his hands in his pockets, his expression thoughtful. No, he agrees, but sometimes it's about more than just fixing things. It's about knowing that what happened mattered. I don't know what to say to that. For a moment, there's nothing but the distant sound of the music from inside and the steady hum of the city beneath us. Maybe I don't need anything from you, I say quietly, but I needed you to know that I remember. I saved your life. I was there. My voice falters slightly, but I steady myself. He nods slowly, his gaze hardening with something unspoken. I won't forget that, he says quietly. I promise. Then just like that, it's over. He turns and walks back toward the doors, his figure disappearing into the crowd. I stay outside, the cool air biting into my skin, but I don't feel cold. There's something about the moment that shifts something inside me. Maybe it's the realization that, for once, I don't need to fight for recognition. I never needed him to acknowledge me. I just needed him to remember. And he does. A quiet sense of resolution settles over me as I head back inside. I won't be the ghost at this party anymore. Tonight, I've made sure the truth is known. The night drags on, the music louder now, the clinking of glasses growing more frequent as the guests become looser in their celebrations. But as I sit at my table watching the charade unfold before me, my mind is elsewhere. My sister's laughter, my mother's poised smile, none of it matters. I'm done. This night is nothing more than another reminder that I'm no longer part of their world, no longer part of the family they try to create in front of their guests. But then, as the evening stretches on, I get up again, needing another escape. I'm restless, and there's only so much I can take of pretending that I'm invisible, of pretending their lives don't impact me. I slip out of the ballroom and make my way toward the lounge, a quieter corner of the venue. The room is dimly lit and the soft hum of conversation fades as I step through the door. I'm alone here, just for a moment. I tell myself to breathe. I tell myself to hold it together, to not let the frustration build up again. But that's when I see it. On a small, polished wooden table in the corner of the room, there's a folder, its edges slightly bent as if it's been carelessly set down. It's thick, the kind of folder that looks important, official. I don't know why, but I feel drawn to it, as if I've been led here to find it. I glance around. No one's watching. No one's paying attention. My fingers brush the folder as I pick it up. The weight of it feels wrong, like it's been left here on purpose. I open it slowly, the pages inside filled with neatly typed words and copies of documents. At first, I can't make sense of what I'm looking at, but then I see it. Familiar language, a federal complaint, an accusation of misconduct. I feel my heart drop into my stomach as my eyes scan the words. It's me, a false report, the kind of accusation that would have derailed my career, that could have ruined everything I had worked for. I know the phrasing. I know the words. And I know without a doubt that the handwriting is Amanda's, my sister, the same sister who's about to get married, the one who's been planning this lavish affair, the one who's never once questioned the image she's tried so hard to uphold, the one who's always seen me as the embarrassment, the one who's looked at me with that subtle disdain, even though I've always been the one picking up the pieces of her life. I sit down, the folder still in my hands, as the weight of this new betrayal sinks in. She didn't just keep me on the sidelines. She tried to ruin me. She tried to destroy my career, to make sure I never move forward, to make sure I never had a chance to be seen in the way she wanted me to be seen. She didn't just erase me from her world, she actively tried to make sure I stayed invisible, to make sure I paid the price for existing outside of her narrative. I don't cry. I don't rage. I simply fold the letter back up, carefully and methodically, as if I'm taking control of the situation. This isn't the first time I've been betrayed by my family, but it's the first time I've ever had the evidence in my hands, the undeniable truth of it. I don't need to confront her. I don't need to make her admit it. The truth is here, buried in this folder, and it's more than enough. I slip the letter into my purse, its weight now a part of me. The truth has a way of lingering, like a shadow that won't go away. I stand up, smoothing my dress, my back straight. I won't confront Amanda tonight. I won't give her the satisfaction. But I will hold on to this. I'll let her think she's won. Let her believe that she's still in control. But she's wrong. She's always been wrong. The truth is mine now, and when the time comes, it will speak for itself. The night is nearing its end. The guests are growing tipsy, their chatter a low hum in the background, but there's an underlying tension in the air now, one that's impossible to ignore. The night has been orchestrated perfectly. My sister Amanda, glowing with the excitement of her engagement, and the rest of the room basking in the wealth and elegance they all share, have no idea what's coming. I glance around, and there across the room, standing near the center of the crowd, is Senator Ames. He's speaking with a few people, shaking hands, his back turned toward me. For a moment, I think about slipping away. I think about turning around, walking out and leaving this charade behind. But then I remind myself, this is why I'm here. To be seen. To make sure the truth comes out. I steady my breath, standing tall in my place, watching Amy's. He's dressed in a sharp suit, his hands gesturing as he talks with one of Amanda's friends. He's the picture of power, of influence, yet there's something about the way he stands. Something quiet. Something that suggests he knows far more than anyone realizes. A part of me wants to go to him, pull him aside, remind him of the life he owes me, but I know better. Instead, I let the silence stretch between us, building until the moment arrives. The MC steps up again, his microphone crackling with life. The noise in the room dies down. He thanks everyone for coming, for celebrating this lavish evening, but then, without warning, he announces a surprise. "It's my great honor," the MC says, his voice carrying clearly, "to call attention to a woman in this room who doesn't just deserve our admiration, but our recognition." A hush falls over the room, and all eyes shift toward the stage. My stomach tightens, but I don't move. I don't react. This is the moment. A woman who 12 years ago saved the life of a man who is standing here with us today, a man whose life she risked everything to preserve, a woman whose actions should be remembered not just tonight, but always. The room remains still, waiting, breathless. And then Ames steps forward, his tall frame commanding the space. He holds up his glass, and I realize in that instant that he's walking toward me. Every step is deliberate, every movement a sharp contrast to the polished performances of my family. My heart is pounding in my chest now, but I stay rooted in place. I don't flinch. I don't turn away. "I'm sure many of you know me," Ames begins, his voice carrying across the room. "But what many of you don't know is that I owe my life to a woman who was willing to risk everything for me, Cassandra Voss." The room stirs at his words. The faces that were once filled with laughter now go silent, their gazes shifting toward me. The shock is palpable, and I feel a strange sense of power surge through me, unexpected, but undeniable. Ames' eyes are locked on me now, and there's something in his gaze that makes me feel seen for the first time all night. He's not just saying my name for the sake of politeness. This is truth, and it's cutting through the layers of deceit that have surrounded me for years. "Cassandra," Ames continues, his voice steady and clear, "is the woman who pulled me from the wreckage when no one else would. She saved my life, and tonight I want to honor her." Without missing a beat, Ames raises his glass high. "To Cassandra Voss." And then, to my shock, one by one, other people begin to rise from their seats. Diplomats, former service members, others who have served in various capacities, people who had been part of that mission, people who knew. They rise slowly, deliberately, and as they do, they start to salute me. Not just a few people. Almost everyone in the room stands one by one, acknowledging me. I can feel my breath catch in my chest. The applause begins, soft at first, but it grows steadily, louder and louder until the entire room is clapping, a standing ovation in my honor. The slow, deliberate recognition, something I never asked for but desperately needed. In the back of the room, my mother looks up, her face frozen, pale. I catch her gaze for a moment. She's no longer the poised, untouchable matriarch of the family. She's the one who's been exposed. And for the first time in my life, I feel free. I stand there, unmoving, accepting the salute not just from them, but from the ghosts of my past. The years of erasure, the years of being invisible, of being treated as less than human, all of it finally coming to an end. The truth has spoken. And no matter how much my family tries to rewrite it, this moment will stand. The truth is now undeniable. And for the first time in years, I'm seen. The applause lingers, but my focus is on the frozen expression on my sister's face. Amanda stands across the room, her smile now a tight, forced thing, her eyes wide and unblinking. She looks like she's been hit in the chest with a sledgehammer, caught completely off guard. I don't care. For once, I don't care. The silence that follows Emma's words is filled with tension. The crowd is slowly settling back into their seats, but the energy in the room has changed. The air is heavier now. I don't know how long I stand there, caught between the overwhelming recognition and the weight of my own thoughts. But then, just as I think I might breathe again, I feel her, the one person who has always tried to control the narrative, coming toward me. Amanda's feet click sharply against the marble floor as she walks toward me, her body rigid, the fake smile that's always been her armor slipping away. She's struggling to find words, but I can see the fury in her eyes. She opens her mouth, but nothing comes out at first. Then, in a voice that shakes, she speaks. "You did this," she spits out, barely able to meet my eyes. You really did this!" I can't help the half laugh that escapes me, bitter and sharp. "I didn't do anything. I didn't ask for this, Amanda. This wasn't my idea." My voice is cold, steady. "You made them do this," she insists, her voice rising. The control she always wielded is slipping from her now. She can't hide the panic in her tone. "This is all a joke, Cassandra. You're ruining everything." "Ruining everything?" I repeat, stepping closer to her, my voice low but cutting through the chaos. "You're the one who's been ruining things for years. You've erased me from every part of this family, from every part of your life. You think this is about you?" I laugh, but it's hollow. "No, Amanda. This is about me taking what's mine. This is about me taking the truth back." Her face is turning crimson now, the veins in her neck pulsing with the anger she's trying so desperately to hold back. I can almost see the moment when it clicks, when she understands this is no longer something she can control. "You think this is some kind of victory?" she sneers. "You think this is going to make things better? You're just a ghost here, Cassandra. You always were." The words hit me like a slap, but I don't flinch. I've been hearing them for years. My whole life, I've been the invisible sister, the one who didn't fit in, the one who could be tossed aside whenever it was convenient, but not anymore. I look around at the people who had once been so eager to ignore me, who now seem unsure of how to react to the reality of this moment. I see my mother, standing just at the edge of the crowd, her eyes glued to me, her hands wringing together in anxiety. She doesn't move, doesn't step forward. She's as complicit as Amanda, a silent participant in this long-running game. I turn back to Amanda. "You can't even see me for who I am, can you? You never could, but it doesn't matter anymore. The truth is out there now, and you can't erase it." "Stop acting like you're the victim!" Amanda yells, her voice cracking. The tears are starting to well in her eyes, but I don't care. Not anymore. "You always play the victim, don't you? You think you're better than us because you saved a senator's life? You think you've earned something? Well, you haven't." I can feel the eyes of the room on us now. More than before. The guests, the few people who might have been curious or confused about my presence, are now watching this unfold like some sick drama. But I'm done with being invisible. "You really don't get it, do you?" I say, voice cold and steady, a stark contrast to her frantic outbursts. "This isn't about your wedding or your perfect little life. This is about you pretending to be something you're not. You've spent your entire life trying to make sure I didn't matter, trying to make sure that you were the one who fit the mold. But you're scared now, aren't you? You're scared because I'm here, and I'm not leaving until everyone knows what you've done." "What I've done?" she sputters, taking a step back, her face contorting in disbelief. She looks to my mother for support, but my mother only stands there, silent and unmoving, her eyes darting between us like she's watching a car crash. And then it happens. The collapse. Amanda doesn't fall to the ground, but everything about her composure shatters in front of me. The tears spill over, her shoulders trembling with the weight of everything she's been hiding. "I didn't mean for it to be like this," she whispers, though her voice is thick with frustration and anger. "I never meant for things to get this bad. I just wanted it to be perfect." I stare at her, feeling nothing. Not pity, not regret, just an eerie calm. "You never meant for it to get this bad?" I repeat, a bitter laugh escaping me. "You've been erasing me for years, Amanda. It's been this bad for a long time. You just never cared enough to see it." For the first time, she falters, her eyes unable to meet mine. The mask she's worn for so long, this perfect, untouchable image of control, is slipping away. And in its place, I see the truth, her truth, the one she's tried to bury under layers of ambition and perfection. "You wanted me gone," I continue, each word like a cold strike. "You wanted me to disappear, and now you're angry because I'm still here, because I'm not going anywhere." Her lips tremble, her composure cracking completely. She doesn't respond. She can't. There's nothing left for her to say. I turn away, walking toward the door. I don't need to stay here any longer. The damage is done. I've said what I needed to say. The truth is no longer mine to carry alone. Behind me, I hear the soft sound of Amanda's sobs, but I don't turn back. I'm done fighting. For the first time in years, I'm free. The weight of everything lifts, and as I step outside, the cool night air feels like a breath I've been waiting for. The salty breeze cuts through my hair as I walk along the shoreline, the waves crashing softly at my feet. It's been a few months since that night, since everything shifted, since I stopped pretending. I found peace here, away from the city, away from the suffocating pull of family obligations. The quiet of the small coastal town is a relief, like I can finally breathe without the weight of my past choking me at every turn. The ocean is vast, endless, and in that vastness, I've found space to exist without the constant reminder that I'm someone else's burden. I've rebuilt myself here, not in the way my family might have expected. There's no grand house, no lavish parties, no success by their standards. I've created something more meaningful, the Quiet Directive. It's a small nonprofit I run, helping those who have been pushed aside by the systems they thought they could trust. Whistleblowers, victims of family sabotage, people like me who've been forgotten or erased by the powers that be. I've found purpose in giving a voice to the silenced, and for the first time in my life, it feels like I'm actually doing something that matters. I stop walking for a moment, looking out at the endless stretch of water. I think about my old life, about the woman who saved a senator's life, about the family who chose to discard me like I was disposable, about Amanda, who never once acknowledged the depth of my sacrifice. I don't carry anger anymore, though. The anger is gone, replaced by something quieter, a sense of relief, of reclaiming what's mine. There are days when I feel the pull of my old world, the whispers of what they've said about me, the accusations they never dared to voice out loud. But I know now that it doesn't matter. I'm not defined by them. Not anymore. Letters arrive from people who have found the Quiet Directive, people who need guidance, who need someone to understand what it's like to be silenced. I write back when I can, offering the words I wish I'd had when I was trapped in my family's suffocating grasp. Sometimes silence says more than anything I could ever write, and I know that some of them, like me, just need someone to hear them without judgment. I've learned the power of my own silence, the power of stepping away, of choosing peace instead of fighting for validation that I'll never get from people who will never see me for who I really am. And yet, every day, I know I'm visible to those who need to see me, to the ones who are ready to hear the truth, even if it's in whispers, even if it's through a letter or a quiet conversation on the phone. I slip my shoes off and step into the cool water, feeling the gentle pull of the waves around my ankles. I stand there for a moment, breathing deeply, grounding myself in the simplicity of this moment. There's no pretense here, no judgment, no expectations. Just me, the ocean, and the promise of a future I'm finally allowing myself to shape. The sun is beginning to set, casting golden light across the water, and for the first time in years, I feel something I didn't expect: hope. The past is behind me, its weight no longer an anchor holding me in place. I've stepped away from the expectations and the pain, and I've created a life that is mine. I walk along the shoreline, barefoot and free, knowing that this is where I was always meant to be.